Good morning, bliss lovers. How are you? Welcome to this Facebook Live. Today we're talking about attracting clients through frequency. When you understand metaphysics, folks, your life will shift into a whole different way, a whole different dimension, a different way of being. So you might even look at this title and think, is that even possible? What does that even mean to attract clients through frequency? So let's start unpacking it. Because whether you're aware of it or not, at the moment you are emanating a frequency. And that frequency is made up of your perspective, your focus, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, right? Like you're an oscillating field of energy that is emitting this frequency, and you are getting what you expect from reality. If you love what you're getting, awesome. If you don't love what you're receiving, then it's your job to take responsibility for your frequency and shift your frequency so reality can shift accordingly. When we talk about creation or manifestation, it's never about the external world changing. Like when people talk about bending reality, reality doesn't bend, it just is. What changes is you and your frequency. So taking full ownership over that in the first instance, because that's important in terms of you creating the outcome of attracting more clients. So I want to ask you a question. I'm just going to bring up my phone in regards to Facebook so I can see comments. How do you feel about attracting clients at the moment? Right, how does it feel to attract clients at the moment? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel like it's working for you? What's your thought process about it? Because often what happens for entrepreneurs is they do this. They go, where's my next client coming from? Are they seeing me when I write this post? Why aren't they choosing me? And this can activate a lot of energy for people in regards to belonging, etc. Feeling like they don't belong, feeling like they're not chosen, feeling like they're being rejected, feeling like they're being abandoned, which are kind of primal energies for humans. So it can bring up a lot of stuff, right? And it is easy to start using the mind to think to try and solve the problem. But what happens when we're thinking about clients is we can start overthinking. And then when we're overthinking really leads you into a place of doubt. And when you go into a place of doubt, what happens is the mind goes externally to try and find the solution. So what the mind does, the mind goes, oh, I need to change my website. Oh, I need to change my funnel. Oh, I need to do YouTube videos. Oh my God, I need to start a podcast. This is how I'm going to attract more clients. And of course, this is coming from the level of mind, the rational mind. So it is limited. We have gone into the external as opposed to staying in your own awareness and actually asking the version of you who already has a lot of clients what the next step is. Now, I'll unpack that statement in a minute. Just bear with me. I'm just going to go into the group and make sure that everything is working properly. Where is the group? Here we go. Beaming to you live through the Intuitive Life Academy. Hi, Lisa. How are you, lovely? How are you doing? Hi, Vivian. Welcome, folks. Okay, so attracting clients. Who do you have to be in order to attract more clients? You have to be a person who isn't looking to the external, right? Like people will come and they will say to me as an entrepreneur, they'll be like, the algorithm isn't working. Nobody's looking at my posts on Facebook. Nobody's reading my emails. And this is a little bit like, oof, but it's true. When you understand how consciousness works, it's not the algorithm, it's not your audience, it's not your funnel, it's not your website, it's nothing outside of you. When you are doing that, you're actually putting blame on something outside of you, which actually creates more uncertainty inside of you. because you feel like, oh my God, I have to control all these external things in order to get the outcome that I want. My website needs to be perfect. I need to have the perfect funnel. I need to be saying exactly the right things in order to attract clients in. And from the level of mind, this just feels like pressure, and pressure feels like stress, and stress is not fun for your body. And that's actually one of my points that I want to make today. The version of you who has more clients is more relaxed than you are currently. So if you're going into a place of thinking that there is something external because what your brain's done is gone, oh my God, where's the next client? Where's the next client? Oh my God, oh my God. And then you've created doubt and stress, and then you've automatically gone to the external. I've got to find the right person who's going to help me do this and help me do this and help me do this. It's not the algorithm, folks. It's you. It's not your website. It's you. It's not what you're offering necessarily. Sometimes it is, but it's you, right? It's your frequency. When you are thinking that there is something outside of you that is more powerful than you, you are giving your power away to it. There is nothing outside of you that is more powerful than you because you're the one who's creating it. You are the creator. You're creating it through projection of meaning, through the way you attribute meaning. So when you understand this, you realize, oh my goodness, it's not Instagram, it's not Facebook, it's not the algorithm, it's me. It's me. So what needs to shift is you. And the version of you who has a lot of clients, she's not thinking, where's my next client coming from? She's not thinking, will I get the numbers that I want in my next launch? She's not thinking, is this working? She's certain. She's certain in the absence of the outcome. She's like, yes, this is working. Yes, my ideal clients are showing up, even if she can't see them right in front of her, because she knows that they can step in now, now, now. She's not looking at the gap between where she is and where she wants to be. She's closed the gap inside of herself by becoming the version of her who already has it. Now, this is confusing, right, for the ego. Spirit gets this, right? Spirit, your ideal reality is already there energetically and spiritually. You have to tap yourself into it. You are aligning yourself to it or misaligning yourself to it through what you're thinking day to day, moment to moment. And if you're thinking, where are my clients? You're misaligning yourself to the version of you who already has it. This is how much power that you have, folks, in terms of aligning with your ideal outcomes. But your brain's going to go, but I can't see it, right, in my reality. No, because you have to hold the vibration of certainty no matter what. And often what will happen for people are like, I don't have it until it is in my hand. Until the client is in my DMs messaging me asking for links. But if you can't hold it of, yes, of course people are choosing me, yes, my ideal clients are finding me, yes, I am certain about that, what happens is then you're not holding the vibration, you're not aligned to it, so it can't be birthed into your 3D reality. And it's an inner state of being, folks. This is why when I work with established entrepreneurs who are already doing all the things, when we shift their frequency, their results take off. Because when you shift into a place of certainty, and again, it sounds easy to do, doesn't it? To stay in the energy of certainty. Yep, it's happening. Yes, it's happening. But the thing is, this is what you need to know. The universe can see through you, right? It can see your energy. It knows if you're lying to yourself. It knows if you're like certain over here, but your subconscious is like not really on board, right? So you're going to get a mixed result. When you're supersonically certain and aligned energetically, mentally, and physically, that's when things can manifest fast. That's when clients will step in fast because you're aligned. Not because of anything outside of you. People put so much pressure on themselves. And yes, I totally agree. Like if you want better, be better. right? If you want to be more respected, show up and be excellent. And every high achiever that I've worked with is automatically dialed into that. They are showing up every day, choosing to be better and better and better and better and better than they were yesterday. They're choosing more excellence. They're choosing to be a better version of themselves. And what, of course, from the level of mind that helps you to do is it helps you to align with the version of you that has everything that she wants. People often get confused between the difference between energy and strategy. Of course, strategy is required as a business owner. Right? You have to have a plan. You have to have a business model. You have to know where you're going. That's a given. You wouldn't be in business without it. But what's happening for a lot of people, they're just applying strategy from the level of mind, and you will create results from that. But if you want insane, outrageous, like results that don't make sense because they're literally being created beyond the mind, that's when you'll be working with the energetics. And for the energetics to work, you have to understand the energetics. When you understand the energetics, you can actually apply it to anything in your life: relationships, money, your job, your business, attracting clients. You have to learn what it is to live from the end result. But what stops you from doing that? Just clicking your fingers and going, yep, I'm certain. Because what happens, right, is time goes by and then your certainty decreases. One, often two, because your thoughts can't stay in the right place. So you have to learn what it is to master your mind. Because if your mind is chaos, your energetic frequency is being impacted. Right? If you have a really noisy mind, self-mastery looks like it becomes quieter. And learning how to do that, because like I said, the version of you who has everything that she desires, she's more relaxed than you are. So one of the number one things, folks, right, is you have to master the level of mind. Of course it's working. Of course I'm creating my outcomes. But it gets tricky, right? Because you have an ego. And your ego is your non-God self. Your ego is kind of like a ghost in the machine. It's not even real. It's a freaking illusion. But what happens where the ego will pop up when you're stepping into a greater power proposition? The ego will go, is this safe? The ego will go, but don't you remember all these money blocks that you have? Right? The ego will go, is it dangerous to make more money? The ego will go, but it's shameful to do that. You're not thinking that, right? You're not walking around thinking that money is connected to shame. I guarantee you there is a connection there somewhere. Or you would be having what you want. Big money, folks, attracting more clients. You are living in a frequency of shamelessness. We don't look for shame, but we experience it, right? And if it's caught in your field, it's going to be impacting your ability to be able to attract. And what shame says is, I am wrong. And when you're not attracting the clients that you want, it's easy for it to get activated. The shame will go, you're doing something wrong. There's something wrong with you. And there's not. And your ability to shift the shame will align you with a higher frequency. But it's not something that you're thinking about, right? Like you're walking around going, yep, I want to create this. I'm excited about this. But then there's this other part of you and it's like, why does it feel like I have a ball and chain on my foot? It's because you're not aligned with the frequency of the version of you that already has it. Because the version of you who already has it, she's shameless, right? She's not holding any energy around, it's not safe to be powerful. She's not making herself wrong in any way, shape, or form. She's simply allowing herself to have it. So you have to understand the mechanics behind creation in order for creation to work effectively for you. And to be the person who has clients coming in on a consistent basis and feeling safe and comfortable about it, feeling good about it, feeling excited about it, feeling like, of course, I get to have that. Right? And again, another thing that can pop in for people, of course, is imposter syndrome. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, or it should look different than this. And it's kind of like that can be completely eradicated when you can see your own worth and value. A lot of times, people as entrepreneurs are in their business wanting to provide services or offerings, etc., but they're not fully in the energy of knowing that they are valuable. Because again, it's not something that we walk around thinking about often, but it's in our energetic frequency. If you don't see your value clearly, you can't offer that to others. If you don't see what is amazing about you, what is unique about you, you're not going to be able to offer that to others. Like, for example, for myself, one of the things that I know that I'm really good at is I can look at somebody's energy field and I can go, that's what it is, and collapse it. Right? I will go to the root fast, and that can save a person years in terms of trying to figure shit out. Right? And again, that time is precious because you don't want your ideal reality to land in 2 years. You want it now. And your soul knows that it's available now. So your job is to come aligned with it. And the biggest place to start is the level of mind. Because what you're thinking is determining what you're choosing. Right? If you're sitting there going, yeah, I'm really good at this, this is amazing, I'm so excited about it, it is easy to make an offer and bring some certainty behind it and go, yes, I'm going to get the outcomes that I want. But if you're doubting yourself and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough, and then you make an offer from that energy, people don't choose it. People aren't excited about it. They can't feel your conviction. They can't feel your certainty. So then they're like, oh no, no, that's fine. I'm good. I'll find somebody who has more certainty and I'll choose that. Because yes, people aren't just buying your service or offer, right? Because there might be 10 other people who are offering the same service. What they're buying is your relationship, your energy, your frequency, your perspective, your certainty, your unique selling proposition, which is you, which is your frequency. And if you can't see the value of that, nobody's going to choose it. You have to see yourself as valuable in order to be able to sell effectively because you have value. You are value. The wisdom, the insights, the awarenesses that you already have, and it's not even particular just to what you're offering, right? It is particular to you as a human and all the life experiences that you've had, everything that you've overcome, right? So, first point is you're going to need to learn to relax your mind. If you can't master your thought processes and shift them from doubt to certainty, you are going to be wobbly in your frequency, and your frequency is determining what you're receiving. Right? And again, people go, oh, I have to do it from my mind. I want you to understand consciousness creates. Consciousness creates, not your mind. I want you to think about every time you've manifested something and it was just out of the blue. You didn't do that from your mind, right? You did it from something beyond your mind. It was consciousness that created it. Your mind couldn't even conceive it because it came out of the blue. So understanding this when you are creating, your job is to get out of the way so you can let consciousness move through you in a bigger way and allow infinite intelligence to create through you. And this is why mastering the mind is so important, because your brain's your biggest handbrake. Brain likes to think, I'm doing it. Right? You look out into Facebook, right? You can see everybody and they think they're doing it. Consciousness creates through you, folks. And your job is to come into alignment with that. To let it move through you so you can trust this infinite intelligence, which can get you outcomes faster than your mind. Like the example I've used before about my last VIP day in London. I woke up one morning and I felt to make an offer when I was in London. I was like, that's all the information I really got. And I was like, what's that about? Like, what's that going to be? So the rational mind started kicking in. But how did I approach it? I just went out onto Facebook and I said, who here is in the UK? Had a few people respond, or in Europe. A few people respond. And then I approached those people and said, look, I'm going to be in London. And then it started formulating that it was going to be a VIP day. And from a conversation, having a person step in. Now, if I had done that from my level of mind, right, like it came from a place of knowing, it came from an awareness that there's already somebody lined up. I didn't have to market it, I didn't have to sell it, I had to allow it, right, to move through me and work with the energy in order to make the offer, right? Your intuition knows the path to millions, but what you do is you rely on the mind every day. And often people do that because they're afraid of their power. They're afraid that there is this infinite intelligence that can boom give them the answer. Because who would you be if you're that powerful? Who would you be if you were actually living your ideal reality? Your ego has a lot of opinion about that. And that's literally what needs to be shifted out of the way in order for it to land. Because the ego will sit there and go, but rich people are horrible, right? Like, and if you're rich, you'll be mean, or you'll be ruthless, or I don't know, you'll turn crazy or something. Like, the ego's got a million stories. Ego is the part of you where all your negative emotions come from, right? Without an ego, you wouldn't have any negative emotions. So every time you judge somebody, or every time there's a feeling of like, this isn't working, it's coming from your ego. Beautiful thing is though, like I show people how to map their ego, what the emotion is, you can see what it is. And as soon as you see what it is and why it's there, do a little bit of self-inquiry, you can collapse it. Now, entrepreneurs know that you work best when you feel good, yeah? And that's why it's so important in terms of the alignment. Like, your emotions are literally a guidance system. When you're aligned, you feel good. When you're aligned, you feel God, right? When you're aligned, it can come through easily. And that's not usually where you're staring at your laptop waiting for the results, right? It's not when you're checking your DMs multiple times a day going, where are my clients? It's when you're in the energy of, I've got this and it's all working out for me. And actually, not just thinking that, but knowing that. Knowing is different from believing. A belief system can be changed. What you know cannot. And that is the level of certainty that you need in your business to create outrageous outcomes. And that is a cultivation practice, because your ego is always the part of you that sits there. You know, like at school, it might be like, oh, this teacher is full of shit. Or even like I've seen this when coaching, right? In containers. Like, I can't say that because, you know, my coach won't agree with me. Or I can't express myself, or I think this person's full of shit. That's all your ego. Like, literally, the universe is sending people into your life to give you life-changing information, but your ego disregards it every single time. The ego will do things like, oh, I've heard this before. Which is, and again, when you think about that, it's kind of funny, right? It's kind of like, yeah, maybe you have, but the universe is bringing it again so you actually get it. So you actually go deeper into it. So you actually embody it as opposed to dismissing it. Remember, the ego always creates separation between you and God, which is creating separation between you and your power. Infinite intelligence, God, source energy, universe, whatever you want to call it. That is the greatest power. And your ego is keeping you separate from it all day long, unless you know how to master your ego. Because until you know how to master your ego, there's always going to be a gap between you and your desire. There's always going to be a feeling of like, oh, it's over there and I'm not there yet. Right? One of the biggest ways that entrepreneurs shame themselves is often through, I should be further along. I'm in the wrong place. Like, I should be somewhere other than where I am. I've been at this for years. Why am I not creating the outcomes that I want? Because you haven't shifted your frequency, right? It's got nothing to do with the external. And again, we can give our power away over and over again to the external by going, Oh, it's the economy. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it's the government. Oh, it's interest rates. Oh, whatever. No, 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 no. People who say that kind of thing, they don't understand creation. They don't understand the metaphysics behind creation. But when you really start to understand how the universe, God, source energy, works, which is inside of you, and you activate this energy, you're going to blow open doors where there were walls because you're living and working multidimensionally and you're harnessing your power to create the outcomes that you want. Being certain in your outcomes is being certain in God. Oh, that's giving me goosebumps. When you are certain in your outcomes, you're certain in God. And when you wobble, you are having uncertainty in your relationship with this infinite intelligence, with this consciousness, with the truth. And this is how life works. If you think, yes, it's amazing and I get everything I want, if you can hold that, that will be your reality. If you think it stinks and I never get the clients that I want, that will be your reality. It takes work to change your mind and to shift into a different person who's having a different experience. And often what happens for people is the ego trips them up because you start doing the work of shifting and then you look at reality and you go, it's not here yet. And then you tell yourself it's not working. And then the universe goes, okay, it's not working. That's how powerful you are. Right? And the work, folks, is not really, it's working. The work is to be the person who shows up committed to that, knowing that, not believing that, not wishing, not hoping, knowing it's working. And that can only ever come from you and your decisions and what you are allowing things to mean. Certainty, folks, will sell more than anything. Your certainty and conviction about what you're offering will sell so much, right? And again, it's not even like, it's not a sales tool, right? It's about who you're being. Are you being convicted? Are you being certain? Are you being certain in the power that God gave you? Are you still seeing yourself as separate between you and the divine? Are you moving as the power that the universe gave you? Because if you were, you'd probably, possibly, maybe be doing a lot more. You'd be getting the download from a certain frequency, the frequency that already has the outcome, and you would be moving accordingly. And you know what the beautiful thing is, folks? Because people are like, oh, but you know, I have fear. Of course, your ability to navigate fear is the version of you who gets the outcome. Right? If you don't know how to navigate fear, if you don't know how to navigate doubt, if you don't know how to navigate your ego, if you don't know how to quieten your mind, it pushes your outcomes away from you. Master your ability to master your mind, master your ego, it can come in super fast. Like the desire and the having of it is not the problem. The problem is managing your ego. Because your brain can go, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But as soon as you hit a speed bump, it collapses, right? And then you go back into, often women have the wound of disappointment. And if there's a lot of disappointment there, it makes it hard to go back into certainty. Because your brain will go, oh, this has happened so many times before, I get excited and it never works out for me. Because you're still operating from your old identity, not your ideal self. So let's talk about that. Because the work, folks, you would have heard of this before, perhaps, where people talk about an identity shift. And that's what needs to happen for you to be a person who's holding a beautiful frequency. The frequency of, I always get what I want. The frequency of, clients are massively attracted to me. The frequency of, it's always available. I'm holding the certainty and infinite intelligence to help me to create this outcome. Especially as a light worker, right? You have a mission, so your job is to show up to the mission. So being that person who then is aligning with a version of you who already has it. Because energetically, it's already there. You might have heard of the multiverse, meaning that you have like thousands of different timelines available to you, thousands of different lives. Like there's a version of you who's a billionaire, there's a version of you who's homeless. You are aligning with those timelines through every decision, thought, choice that you make. So if you want to align, presumably with a more billionaire end, the version of you who's making extraordinary money in her business, you have to become that version of yourself. You would have heard this before. If you want to be a millionaire, you have to think like a millionaire. You have to move like a millionaire. And that's not an idea or a concept, folks. It is a state of being that needs to be embodied so you become it. It's not a nice idea because this is what the ego does. Oh, that's a nice idea. Oh, yeah, cool. No, no, no. The work is to embody it and to become it and to make decisions accordingly. Because everybody goes, oh my God, this feels amazing. Oh my goodness, this version of me who's a multi-millionaire. And then you start thinking like that. People then often don't take the actions. So you have to move like your $1 million self. And that means you're going to be doing things differently than what you're currently doing. And that's when the ego can get activated, right? Because it's like, is this safe? Is this okay? Is this all right? What's happening? Right? Because you're becoming a different person and your old identity, which you have given time, energy, and attention to, is like, where are you going? Right? It wants to stay alive, but you're collapsing that and giving this new version of you energy. And your ego, as you might have noticed, folks, is clever, right? It can trip you up and have you in a trap before you've even been aware of it. It will show you something in the external world, which is literally the illusion. And before you know it, you're back in your old identity. This is why people underestimate, right, that they think that they can do it. And it's like, no, it's an energetic, mental, and physical process to become this version of you who has your ideal outcomes. And yes, you can create insane results through alignment, but also too, right? Like if you want to be a millionaire, you're going to need to have portals open. For most people I work with, that is a business. You're going to need to have ways that money can come to you. And again, the rational mind, because work has often been done for people from the rational mind from sacrifice and obligation. And then you start applying the metaphysics and your brain goes, this is hard. And it's not. But you're so used to work being hard, or you're so used to work being an obligation, or you're so used to sacrificing yourself in your work that you think to step into millions, oh my God, how much am I going to have to sacrifice myself for that? Because that's the old version of you. That's how the old version of you did it. It was hard, it was difficult, it was an obligation, you had to sacrifice yourself. I had a client, bless you, if you're watching, who did an energy session with someone, which was so natural for her. And she said, oh, it felt like it was almost too easy. I was like, what? Because we have this idea that sacrificing yourself is somehow noble. There is no nobility in sacrifice, folks, and it's also not energetically aligned. The version of you, the conscious, spiritual, millionaire version of you, is not doing sacrifice. Let that land in your energy field for a hot second. They're not doing sacrifice. They're not doing guilt. They're not doing shame. They're not doing obligation. There's no resentment. Because all of that is low frequency energy. And you can't be in a high frequency and hold these vibrations. Right? Can't be in your ideal outcome and hold something that is not your ideal outcome. So when you understand this and you're operating from this identity, you're going to be making different decisions. You're going to be moving in a different way. You're going to be showing up in a different way. You're going to be thinking in a different way. And every time you take an action step from your ideal reality, you are birthing frequency into your 3D, right? Because people often think about it. Energetically, it's there, they think about it, but then they're not taking the action steps. If you want to speed things up, you will go to the ideal version of yourself, get the intuitive awareness, and take the action step. And the beautiful thing about your intuition, right, is it can see everything. So it can connect you to the people, places, events, circumstances like that. Your intuition knows where all your ideal clients are. Like often too, even with my intuition, like I will often have an awareness that I'll see somebody in my audience and I'll be like, they're going to be a client eventually. Because that's how your intuition works. There's no need to chase that person or pursue them because that's coming from the rational mind, right? That's coming from a lower frequency. When they're ready, they'll step in. But you have to hold the vibration of certainty. So, right, we've talked about how you need to relax your mind because the version of you who has it is in a relaxed mind and a quiet mind. A quiet mind can hear intuition more clearly. You have to operate from the version of you who already has it. But the other thing you need to do, of course, is to create safety through the physical body. And safety, folks, is not created by the external. It's created through the relationship that you're having with yourself. Safety looks like everything could go wrong in my reality. Touch wood. But I know that I am safe. Safety only ever comes from your connection with source energy. Write it down, stick it on the fridge, on the bathroom mirror. Safety only ever comes from your connection with source energy. It can only come from the greatest power there is. It does not come from the external world. This is why when you are connected to source energy, you are aligned. That is your greatest form of safety. If you are feeling unsafe, you need to go back to God. When you are connected, your central nervous system automatically calibrates. People talk a lot about the somatics and the central nervous system. That automatically happens when you're connected to source energy. And why is it so important to feel safe? Because it increases your capacity. If you don't feel safe, it's really difficult to receive people, folks. When you feel safe and relaxed, you can flourish and invite more people in. I remember having a conversation with my coach once about inviting clients in, and I said, it feels like I'm inviting them to come to my party. And she was like, yeah. And I said, but I feel like I have a bouncer on the door, right? Because I've had parties before, like literally in real life, and they've been big parties and they haven't always gone well, right? So there was like part of my psyche that was like, oh my goodness, if all these people come in, something could go wrong. And this is literally the kind of work that you need to do to like shift things inside of you. Because if you don't feel safe, no matter what you do from the level of mind, it's not going to land. It's not going to happen. Your body will just be like, no, I'm good. I'm happy with the status quo. And often what happens, folks, like when you feel unsafe, you feel powerless. And when you feel safe, you feel powerful. And power is the foundation of this work, because if you want more clients, if you want more money, you need to know how to hold more power, right? You need to increase your capacity to hold power. Being able to manifest what you want is power. And the powerful version of you might think quite differently than the current version of you. Powerful version of you, hi Trina, how are you, lovely, might be like, I have different standards, I have different boundaries, and I have different expectations than the current version of you. And again, this is the work that we're going to be doing in my Yes Money Mastermind. What that's all about, folks, is literally what I've talked about, the integration of you becoming the entrepreneur who moves with great power and knows that she can create what she wants. Not believes, not hopes, not wishes, knows. Because when you have that level of certainty, life has no choice, because this is how creation works, but to respond. Right? When you're holding that energetic frequency of course I get to have it, of course it's mine, of course the clients are stepping in, of course my ideal clients are stepping in, of course we all rise together, of course I have what it takes, of course I'm valuable, that's when clients are going to step in because they're going to feel your certainty. They're going to feel your ability to be able to take them all the way. You know, we've just finished a round of magnetic to money. Some of the results in there are insane. Because again, when people step in, the idea of the creation of what they desire is often a thought process, right? But when you see it land in your physical reality, and then you become a different version of you because you're like, holy cow, it was an idea and now it's actually in my reality. Right? To be a person who's choosing a 10K month goal or a 20K month goal, and then at the end of 3 months are like, oh my goodness, 30 grand, oh my goodness, 60 grand. You know, you're taking an idea and bringing it into reality. And the only thing that is stopping you is your ability to navigate yourself. It's really easy to go, oh, you're your own limitation. But the limitation is only your ability to be able to navigate. And as soon as you have that skill set, you're away, right? As soon as you have that skill set, you can be doing exactly the same things in your business. If you're an entrepreneur who's been in business for a while, doing exactly the same things, start applying the energetic principles, your results take off, right? You're like bringing in more clients because you're operating at a different frequency and life responds. So understanding these concepts is massively important. And folks, I am from the background of all the numbers. Like I worked in banking, I could talk to you all day long about mortgages, about financial portfolios, about financial statements, profit and loss. I used to look at the numbers all day long. And I can tell you right now, strategy is a very small part of it. The energetics are massive. If you want insane outcomes, if you want outrageous outcomes, if you want outcomes where the mind is going, how did that even happen? You will be working with the energetics. So this of course involves you choosing yourself. If you're interested in the fuck yes money, because of course folks, even talking about that, right, it is a sacral activation. If you go down into your belly right now, just below your belly button, you want that part of your body because that is the part of your body that you are birthing creation through. You want your sacral to be lit up and turned on. You want it to be fuck yes money, not like, oh yeah, maybe, I don't know. No, your business, when done correctly, is a massive turn on. It gets to be so pleasurable, inviting people into your world knowing that you're going to help upgrade their life. Insane in terms of the frequency that you're going to be emitting. You're going to feel incredible. So, some of the work, of course, that we're going to be doing is the identity shift. So you can get to a place where you're like, I know that I am wealthy. I know that I am rich because when I'm operating from that frequency, I will attract more because the universe can't give you what you don't have already. When you're operating in those frequencies, right, you attract more opportunities, you attract more resources, you attract more abundance. Getting comfortable with your power is huge because the ego can block that every single step of the way until you get to a place where you're like, no, I'm good, right? I know that I'm powerful. I know that when I take an action step, things work. If you're interested in the mastermind, put yes money or send me a message directly and I will send you the links. The investment for the mastermind starts from $562 US, so it's a no-brainer, folks, in terms of the outcomes that you're going to create. Like if you're making 10 grand a month at the moment, to double or triple that, and the mastermind is actually 6 months long. Why is it longer? Because the integration process, right? We're going to go super deep and we're going to go through at least 2 evolutions. So you're going to shift identity once and then shift it again within that time frame. So it's potent to commit to a longer container because you're going to get better results. And the commitment piece is important. But when you're committing at that level of investment, if you're making 10 grand a month, that's less than 5% of what you're earning, right? With the potential to make so much more. So I want you to ask yourself, in your awareness in your own body, is your sacral turned on and lit up? Are you living from your full potential? Are you operating from your highest level of power? Even playing with it, let's say you're making 10 grand at the moment. What does the 30 grand per month version of you feel like? The 50 or even the 100 grand a month version of you? What does it feel like in your body? Right? You can feel it. It's a different frequency. That's the frequency that we're going to be helping you to embody and operate from. That is the frequency where you can literally call clients in like that. Because you have so much certainty in the value of you and the value of your work and in your clients. All right. Alrighty, I'm just looking at what's here. So you said, how do you feel about attracting clients? I got the line from Wayne's World. If you book them, they will come. Yes, so it's faith. The right clients will find you. Yes, but it's being able to hold the frequency of that, Lisa. People have the idea, but is the integration all the way through? Because one of your biggest opponents, folks, is actually your subconscious mind. And your subconscious remembers everything that's ever happened to you. And if you're not navigating your subconscious on a daily basis, like I've been coaching for 12 years, I do this for myself on a regular basis. If you're not knowing how to access it and bring up the files to be able to shift it, you will stay stuck in the same frequency. Like knowing what it takes to actually be a frequency alchemist, oh, I like that name, right? That's where the work is. And once you commit to being in a space where you're doing that all day, every day, that's when your results can take off. A lot of times, folks, right, like people say to me, I can do this myself. And I'm like, that's interesting. I've never done it myself because you need somebody to hold you in the container. Right? You need somebody to call you out on your stuff because it's amazing how the ego will let you off the hook, right? The ego will go, oh, no, let's not look at that. Let's just distract ourselves. Like I remember once, I've talked about this before, about how I was doing a launch and like I ended up cleaning my whole house. I'm like, I'm not a housekeeper. That's just another way that the ego keeps you distracted from actually doing the things that shift the needle. And distraction these days is huge, huge, right? There's so much information and noise out there. And if you're filling yourself up rather than actually dropping in and asking yourself, what is for me? What is my next step? And even then, folks, I have seen people avoid doing the things that are actually really required to go to the next level because of fear maybe, or because again they can't even see that their ego is blocking them, but they will feel it. It will feel like frustration on some level. So stepping in to become this version of you who's attracting clients effortlessly through frequency, that's what's available in the mastermind. So do send me a message if you're interested, or put a yes money below and I'll send you some more details. But you have to ask yourself, who am I being? Who am I being? Am I being the version of myself who is a badass entrepreneur, showing up with great levels of power and moving accordingly, taking full responsibility for my creations? If I don't like something, then I'm going to do what it takes to change it. Or are you letting reality decide what you get to have? Because the people who are creating those outrageous numbers, folks, they have chosen to become more powerful than reality. They're allowing source energy to guide them. They're getting their ego out of the way so they can surrender to the consciousness that creates. Because it's the consciousness that can call in your next client like that. Like that. You get to relax and trust and know that it's all working for you. But that's definitely an integration process. And the quicker you integrate, the quicker you're going to see results in your 3D reality. Alrighty, folks, has anybody got any questions? Hi, Joe, you found out good stuff. Has anybody got, hi, Kylie, how are you, lovely? Has anybody got any questions before I finish up today? What do you want to know about attracting more clients? What does it feel like for you? One of the best places to start is, how do I feel about my business? If it doesn't feel good, something needs to shift. Right? If it doesn't feel good, something needs to shift. Because there's a version of you right now having a business that they absolutely adore, that they're having the time of their life, that they're making bank, that they're having a great impact on their clients, that they're loving their relationships. And every time you have somebody in your reality where there is contrast or negativity, it's showing you something about yourself. It's actually an invitation into your next level. But often what happens, right? The ego goes, there's this person, blah, 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 right? Can't stand this. Don't like this. If you don't like it, change it. You're an infinite creator. But you forget. You forget that you're powerful, that you forget that you have a choice. You forget that there's another frequency available to you right in this moment. And your ability to continuously shift into that and operate from that, game changer. You're welcome, lovely. All right, folks, I'm sending you so much love. I'll look forward to connecting with you again very shortly. I'm doing another video tomorrow over in Elegant Wealth. I'll look forward to seeing you there. Sending you lots of love. Bye.